Sarah Mitchell stared at her phone. Screen at 3:47 a.m., her heart racing as she read the email for the fourth time. The subject line seemed impossible. Immediate opening for a private nanny position. $1 million annual salary. Her first instinct was to delete it as spam, but the sender's address made her pause. Executive Office of Blackstone Industries, com. Her 6-year-old daughter Emma's cough had woken her a blessing in disguise that led her to check her phone at this unusual hour, as a waitress working double shifts sleeps. Was precious, but tonight felt different. Dear Miss Mitchell, our firm represents Mr. Alexander blacked out. After careful consideration, you have been selected as a candidate for the position of private nanny to Miss Blackstone's 8-year-old daughter. The position offers an annual salary of $1 million, full benefits, and private accommodation at the Blackstone estate. An NDA must be signed before further details can be discussed. If interested, please reply within 24 hours. Regards, Victoria Hammond, Chief of Staff Alexander Blackstone. Even in her small town, everyone knew that name. Reclusive billionaire who disappeared from public life 2 years ago after the tragic accident that killed his wife and left his daughter scarred. The media called him the heartbroken billionaire, spinning tales about his grief. And isolation. Emma coughed again in the next room, the sound rattling deep in her chest. Sarah's throat tightened. Thinking of the expensive medications they couldn't afford since her husband David's death 3 years ago every month had been a struggle to keep their heads above water. She Googled Victoria Hammond and found her LinkedIn profile. Chief of Staff at Blackstone Industries. For the past decade, everything looked legitimate, but the salary was mind-boggling. Why? Would anyone offer a small-town waitress $1 million to be a nanny? Sarah's fingers moved across her phone screen. Dear Miss Hammond, I am interested in learning more about this position. I'm available for an interview at your convenience. The response came within minutes. The car is arriving at your address in 30 minutes. Pack for an overnight stay if possible. Sarah's hands trembled as she packed a small bag for herself and Emma. She knew it was crazy to consider getting into a car with strangers before dawn, but something in her gut told her this was their chance. She wrote a quick note to her neighbor, Mrs. Rodriguez, and gently woke Emma. Exactly 30 minutes later, a black Lincoln Navigator pulled up outside their modest apartment. A woman in an elegant suit stepped out. Victoria Hammond, herself looking exactly like her profile photo. Her presence made everything feels real. M. Mitchell, thank you. You for your prompt response. Victoria said, her tone is professional but kind. This is Emma. Hello, sweetheart. Emma, still sleepy, clutched her worn stuffed rabbit and gave a shy wave. The drive took them through winding country roads as Victoria explained the basics. Mr. Blackstone's daughter Lily lost her mother in a car accident 2 years ago. She suffered severe burns on one side of her face since then. We've gone through 7 nannies. None lasted more than a few months. Why? Sarah asked, stroking Emma's hair as her daughter dozed against her shoulder. Victoria hesitated. Situation is complex. The accident changed everything. Mr. Blackstone withdrew from public life to protect Lily, but there are other factors. His former fiancée, Rebecca Sterling, has been persistent in trying to re-establish contact. The media attention has been relentless. Lily needs someone who can create stability in an unstable situation. As they approached massive iron gates, Victoria's phone buzzed. Her expression changed slightly. Mr. Blackstone has an unusual request. He wants to observe your initial interaction with Lily without introducing himself. This is irregular, but I assure you he has his reasons. Gates opened to reveal a sprawling estate. The main house was a beautiful mix of classic architecture and modern additions, surrounded by manicured gardens and what looked like extensive security measures. Sarah noticed cameras everywhere and guards patrolling discreetly inside. The house was surprisingly warm and lived in, despite its grandeur. Victoria led them to a comfortable guest room where Emma could continue sleeping, then guided Sarah to a large playroom filled with toys and art supplies and books. In the center sat a small girl with long dark hair, carefully arranging photographs in a large album. Sarah's heart caught at the sight of the angry red scars that covered the left side of her face. Lily, Victoria called softly. "There's someone I'd like you to meet." Girl turned her eyes, meeting Sarah's with a mixture of hope and resignation, the look of someone used to being rejected. But Sarah saw beyond the scars, to something familiar in those eyes, a pain she recognized from her own mirror. After David died without hesitation, Sarah walked over and sat beside her. "That's a beautiful album you're making," she said warmly. "I'm Sarah. Would you mind showing me what you're working on?" Lily studied her face carefully, searching for any sign of pity or revulsion, finding none. She slowly turned the album towards Sarah. "It's pictures of my mom," she said, quietly, "from before I'm afraid I'll forget what she looked like." Sarah heart broke a little. "May I?" she asked. Gesturing to the album at Lily's nod, she looked closer. The photos showed a stunning woman with Lily's dark hair and bright smile, often caught mid-laugh in many pictures. She was with a handsome man, Sarah assumed. It was Alexander. Blackstone is looking happier and more carefree than any media photo she'd seen. "Your mom had a beautiful smile," Sarah said softly. "Just like yours." "I don't smile much anymore," Lily whispered it. "Makes the scars pull funny." "You know what?" Sarah leaned in conspiratorially. "I bet your mom wouldn't want you to stop smiling. I bet she loved your smile more than anything in the world." A tear slid down Lily's unscarred cheek. "Dad doesn't smile anymore either. He just works and works. Sometimes I think he can't look at me because I remind him of her." "Oh, sweetheart," Sarah said, her maternal instincts taking over. "I don't think that's true at all. I think maybe it hurts him to see you sad because he loves you so much." What Sarah didn't know was that Alexander Blackstone was watching this interaction through cameras in his study, his hands gripping his desk as he listened to his daughter speak more words than she had in months. But it wasn't just Lily's response that shook him. It was the strange sense of familiarity he felt watching Sarah, a feeling he couldn't quite place, but that nagged at his memory. And in another part of the city, a woman sat in a luxurious penthouse scrolling through surveillance photos of Sarah and Emma arriving at the estate. Rebecca Saint's perfectly manicured nails tapped against her wineglass as she studied the images. Her beautiful face twisted with rage, so she whispered to herself, "Hune's finally replacing us. We'll see about that over the next few weeks." Sarah and Emma settled into life. At the Blackstone estate, Lily blossomed. Under Sarah's care slowly emerging from her shell, the two girls became inseparable, with Emma's natural cheerfulness drawing out Lily's hidden smile. Even Alexander noticed the change in his daughter, though he maintained his distance, watching through security feeds and receiving daily reports from Victoria. One rainy afternoon, while the girls napped after a morning of baking cookies, Sarah explored the mansion's vast library. Among leather-bound classics and first editions, she found a photo album wedged behind other books, as if hastily hidden. The first page showed a younger Alexander with a striking blonde woman, Rebecca Sterling. According to the elegant handwriting beneath the photo, they looked madly happy in love, even in picture after picture of beach vacations, charity galas, intimate dinners. Then abruptly, the photos changed. Alexander appeared with a different woman, Lily's mother, Catherine. The transformation in his expression was subtle but clear. With Rebecca, he'd looked infatuated. With Catherine, he looked at peace. "That was taken the day I broke off our engagement." Alexander's voice came from behind her, making said jump. She hadn't heard him enter the library. "I'm sorry if I startled you." "No, I'm sorry," Sarah said quickly, closing the album. "I shouldn't have been snooping. Actually, I'm glad you found it." He sat in a leather armchair nearby, looking more approachable in casual clothes than his usual suits. "You need to understand the whole story, especially now that Rebecca's back in town." Sarah's pulse quickened. Victoria mentioned her. She said Rebecca's been persistent is a polite right. Word for it. Alexander's jaw tightened. "Rebecca and I were engaged for 2 years. She was the perfect socialite, exactly what everyone expected me to marry, but it was all a facade. She was unstable, possessive. When I met Catherine at a children's hospital fundraiser, I realized what real love felt like." "How did Rebecca take the breakup?" "Badly. She stalked. Catherine sent threatening letters, tried to sabotage my company. We got restraining orders and hired security. Eventually, she seemed to move on, got engaged to someone else, moved to Europe. We thought we were safe." His voice cracked slightly. "We were wrong. Sarah's mind raced. The accident that killed Catherine was no accident. Alexander stood pacing the room. The police found evidence of brack tampering, but nothing concrete, linking it to Rebecca. She had an airtight alibi, was photographed at a gala in Paris that night, but I know it was her. She orchestrated it somehow, and now she's back. She returned. 3 months ago, after her wealthy father died, she's been sending gifts to Lily, trying to play stepmother. Last week, she filed a lawsuit, claiming partial ownership of my company based on promises she claims I made during our engagement. He ran a hand through his hair. But that's not what worries me. It's the way she's been. Watching the house following Lily's previous nannies quit because of threatening notes left on their cars. A chill ran down Sarah's spine as she remembered the strange car she'd spotted outside Emma's school yesterday. Why didn't you tell me this before I took the job? Would you have stayed if I had his eyes met hers? Lily needs you, Sarah. For the first time since Catherine died, she's starting to heal. Emma, too. She's given my daughter something I couldn't. Friend her own age, who sees past the scars. Before Sarah could respond, Victoria burst into the library, her usual composure shattered. Sir, there's been a breach. Some accessed the East Baby security system and Lily's room. She paused, glancing at Sarah. There was a gift on her bed, a custom doll that looks exactly like Catherine. Alexander's face went white. The girl's still napping in the playroom under guard, Victoria assured him. But sir, there's more. We found this with the doll. She handed him a note written in elegant script. Alexander read it aloud. She looks just like her mother. Isn't she so fragile? So breakable, just like Catherine was. But I could be her mother now. I could make everything's right. Think about it, darling. You know where to find me. Sarah felt sick. She was in the house near our children. The word "our" hung in the air. Between them, neither acknowledging, but both feeling its weight. I'm doubling security, Alexander said firmly, adding guards to the girl's details. Sarah, maybe you and Emma should. Don't you dare suggest we leave. Sarah cut him off. Those girls need each other, and Lily needs someone who'll fight for her, not run away scared. Something shifted in Alexander's expression. Respect, admiration, and something deeper, like Catherine would have done it, he said softly. A small sound made them all turn. Lily stood in the doorway, clutching the doll that looked so eerily like her dead mother. I heard you talking about Mom, she said quietly, and about Rebecca. Sarah moved to her instinctively, but Lily stepped back. And she comes to my school. Sometimes, Lily continued, her voice trembling, watches me at recess. She says, she's going to be my new mom, and she loved me first before Mom did, she says. The accident was Mom's fault for stealing her happy ending. Alexander made a strangled sound, but Sarah reached Lily first, kneeling before her. Listen to me. Sweetheart, Rebecca is sick. She's telling lies because she's hurt and angry. Your mom loved you more than anything in this world, and nothing anyone says can change that. But what if Rebecca hurts someone else? Lily's eyes filled with tears, like she hurt Mom. What if she hurts Emma or you? Sarah pulled her close, feeling the girl's tears soak her shoulder. Over Lily's head met Alexander's gaze. Fear and fury in his eyes matched her own. But there was something else too. A spark of the man from those old photos, the one who knew how to smile. No one is hurting anyone, Sarah said firmly. We're going to stop her together. What they didn't know was that Rebecca was watching through hacked security cameras, her perfectly manicured nails drawing blood from her palms. Oh, Sarah, she whispered to the screen. You have no idea what I'm capable of, but you will. You'll all find out very soon. On her other hand, she clutched a photograph taken 15 years ago, one that would shake the foundations of everything Sarah thought she knew about her connection to the Blackstone family. Rebecca smiled, a cold, brittle think. Sometimes the best revenge was simply revealing the truth. Sarah woke to Emma's screams in the middle of the night, racing to her daughter's room. She found the bed empty, the window open, and a note pinned to the pillow in that same elegant handwriting. Now you know how it feels to lose everything you love. Come alone to the Sterling estate. Tell anyone, and you'll never see her again. Ah, her. Hands shaking, Sarah grabbed her phone to call Alexander, but another text stopped her. I'm watching you. Sarah, alone or Emma pays the price. By the way, have you told Alexander why do you look so much like him, beloved Catherine, or why Emma has his mother's eyes? The phone slipped from Sarah's grip. She stared at her. Reflection in Emma's bedroom mirror, really looking at features she'd seen every day of her life, the high cheekbones, the curve of her jaw. How had she never noticed grabbing an old photo of Catherine from Lily's album? She held it beside her face. The resemblance was uncanny. But Emma's eyes, she'd always assumed they came from David's side. Of the family, now fragments of memories crashed through her mind. Her biological mother, who died when Sarah was a baby, the grandparents who'd raised her, their evasive answers about her father. A text lit up her phone. Tick-tock. Sister. Dear. That's right. Catherine wasn't just Alexander's wife. She was your half. Sister and Emma. She's not David's. Daughter. She's Alexander's. Remember that. Drunk night at his engagement party, to me the one you pretended never happened. I have the DNA test to prove it. Sarah's world spun that night 6 years ago. She'd been catering the party, hadn't she? Had been a moment with a handsome stranger in the garden. Both of them drinking champagne and sharing their dreams and sorrows under the stars. She'd never seen his face clearly in the darkness. 9 months later, Emma was born. But there was no time to process these revelations. Emma was in danger. Sarah scribbled a quick note for Victoria. Don't follow. She'll hurt Emma, and slipped out of the mansion. The Sterling estate loomed ahead. A grotesque modern fortress of glass and steel. Rebecca waited in the entrance, looking elegant even at this hour in a black designer dress. Hello, sister-in-law. She smiled coldly. Or should I say the other woman? Where is my daughter? Sarah demanded, safe for now with her father. Isn't it ironic that all this time she was right where she belonged in the Blackstone mansion, though I doubt Alexander will be thrilled to learn he has another daughter, especially one he created while cheating on me. He didn't know who I was. Sarah said neither of us did. Oh, but I knew. Rebecca's smile turned cruel. I've known everything from the start, with who you were, who Emma was, and why do you think I chose that night to announce our engagement? I saw you catering. How he looked at you, just like he'd looked at Catherine. I couldn't let another sister steal him from me. You're in disbelief, Sarah whispered. You killed Catherine because she was my sister. I killed Catherine because she took what was mine. Rebecca's composure cracked. Everything was perfect until your family interfered first. Catherine, the secret daughter from his father's affair, stealing his heart with her good works and pure soul. Then you, her little sister, making him question our engagement with one drunken night. But I fixed it. I got rid of Catherine, made it look like an accident. Poor Elle's scars were just collateral damage. Sarah's blood ran cold. Where is my daughter? Follow me. Rebecca led her to a home office where Emma slept on a couch, seemingly unharmed. Don't worry, just sleeping pills in her. Hot chocolate, she'll wake up soon. Unless what leaves Emma and disappear. Never tell Alexander about her true parentage. Lets me have the family. That should have been mine, and if I refuse, Rebecca pulled out a gun then. History repeats itself again. Tragic accident, this time involving a mother and daughter. You won't get away with it, Sarah said, edging toward Emma. Alexander will know it was you, will he? The grieving ex-fiancé who tried to save you both from a home invasion gone wrong. I've learned from last time everything's arranged perfectly. A noise from the hallway made Rebecca turn. Sarah lunged. Knocking the gun away, they grappled. Crashing into a desk, a photo frame fell. Glass shattering. Rebecca grabbed a shard, slashing at Sarah's face. Now, you'll match Lily, she screamed. One big, happy, scarred family. Sarah fought back, desperately, but Rebecca was unhinged. Stronger than her slight frame suggested, the glass shard came closer to her eye. Suddenly, Rebecca's weight disappeared. Alexander stood there, fury incarnate, restraining his ex-fiancée as security swarmed the room. Victoria rushed to Emma, checking her pulse. She's fine. Victoria assured them, just sedated. Paramedics are coming. How Rebecca shrieked. How did you find us? Your father's old housekeeper. Alexander said grimly, she called us. Worried about your special guest. Said she heard a child crying. Did you really think I wouldn't have this place watched? Sarah cradled Emma, her mind spinning. Alexander, there's something you need to. Now I know. He said quietly about Catherine being your half-sister, about Emma Victoria found the DNA test results. In Rebecca's files weeks ago, you knew all this time I suspected when I saw you. With Lily, you have Catherine's heart, way with children. And then I remembered that night in the garden I'd had too much. Champagne was grieving my broken engagement. You were so kind, so real. Just like Catherine had been. Why didn't you say anything, Fear? Shame. How could I? Admit I'd unknowingly been with my late wife's sister, that I'd abandoned my own child, even unintentionally. His voice cracked. Can you ever forgive me? Rebecca's laughter cut through the moment. How touching, the secret siblings, the hidden child, the tragic past. You really think this changes anything? I'll still destroy you all. I have proof of everything, the affairs, the illegitimate children, every dirty secret. The Blackstone family tried to bury it. But no, said a new voice. You don't know. They turned to see Lily in the doorway, Victoria's tablet in her hands. I just sent everything to the police, the real proof. Your emails planning Mom's murder at the brake shop, receipt, the payments to the mechanics, everything, made Rebecca's face go white. Impossible, those were encrypted, hidden. I'm good with computers, Lily said quietly. Like my dad. I found your passwords in the doll. You left the one that looked like Mom. Did you really think I wouldn't look inside it? Sarah moved to Lily, pulling her close with her free arm. Emma still cradled against her other side. Alexander joined them, unfolding his newly complete family as Rebecca was led away in handcuffs. Screams echoing through the mansion. My clever, brave girl, Alexander whispered to Lily, then looked at Sarah, holding both. Their daughter is my whole world, right? Here. But as police lights flashed outside and Emma began to stir, Sarah knew their greatest challenge still lay ahead, building a family from the ashes of so many secrets and lies. Yet looking at Alexander's face, seeing the love there for all of them, she knew they would find a way after all. To love real, messy, complicated love was the one truth. That could heal all wounds. 6 months after Rebecca's arrest, Sarah stood in front of the mirror in her bedroom at the Blackstone estate, adjusting her wedding dress. Her hands trembled slightly as Victoria helped with the final touches. Through the window, she could see the garden where hundreds of guests waited, where she'd once shared a magical moment with a stranger who turned out to be so much more. Mom. Emma burst into the room, her flower girl dress swishing. Lily's crying in the library. Sarah exchanged glances with Victoria. I'll go, she said, gathering her skirts. She found Lily curled up in her favorite reading nook. Clutching the photo album of her mother's sweetheart, Sarah said softly, sitting beside her. Want to tell me what's wrong? I miss Mom, Lily whispered. And I feel bad for being happy you're marrying Dad, like I'm replacing her. Sarah's heart ached. She came here, and she pulled Lily into her lap, careful of both their dresses. You know what's amazing about hearts can hold so much love. Loving me doesn't mean loving your mom any less. She'll always be your mother, Lily. I'm not replacing her. I'm just adding more love to your life, like how you're my aunt, but also going to be my stepmom. Sarah smiled. These past months had been full of careful explanations, family therapy, and honest conversations about their unique situation. Exactly. Family comes in all forms. Your mom was my sister, even though I never knew her. That makes our connection even more special. Dad says I have her heart, Lily said, touching her scars gently. And you have her smile, you have her strength, Sarah corrected. Remember how brave you were that night, finding Rebecca's evidence, saving Emma? I was scared, Lily admitted, but I kept thinking about what Mom would do. She always helped people, right? And you know what else? She'd be so proud of you, not just for being brave, but for opening your heart to Emma and me. Emma peeked into the library. Is everything okay? Dad's getting nervous. He keeps adjusting his tie and asking if you changed your mind. Sarah and Lily laughed. Together, tell him his bride will be there in 5 minutes, Sarah said. Having some sister-daughter time after Emma left, Lily stood smoothing her junior bridesmaid dress. I made something. For you, she said, pulling a folded paper from her pocket. It was a drawing of their entire family. Alexander, Sarah, Lily, Emma, and in the sky above them a smiling figure with angel wings that could only be Catherine. She's watching over us, Lily explained, making sure we're all happy. Sarah blinked back tears, careful of her makeup. It's perfect, sweetheart. Should we put it in the family album already? Lily grinned on the last page. It's our new chapter. They walked to the garden together, where Alexander waited under an arch of white roses. His face when he saw them made Sarah's heart skip love, gratitude, and a touch of lingering amazement at how life had brought them together. Emma joined them, scattering rose petals with enthusiasm as Sarah reached Alexander. Both girls stood between them, creating their own unique family configuration for the ceremony dearly beloved. The minister began, "We are gathered here to witness not just the union of two hearts, but the blending of a family forged through extraordinary circumstances and extraordinary love." Alexander's vows came first, Sarah. "You came into our lives as a guardian angel. Healing wounds we thought would never heal. You showed me that love doesn't divide, it multiplies. You gave Emma a father who will spend the rest of his life making up for lost time. You gave Lily a mother who sees her strength and beauty. You gave me back my heart. When I thought it was forever broken today, I promised to spend the rest of my life showing you that some endings are really beautiful, beginnings in disguise." Sarah squeezed both girls' hands as she spoke her vows. "Alexander, our story started in darkness, a garden at night, two lonely souls finding brief comfort, but love brought us back together, not just for us, but for our daughters today. I promised to honor Catherine's memory by loving her family, our family, with the same open heart she had. I promised to be a mother to Lily, a wife to you, and to help you be the father Emma has always deserved most of all. I promise that our past will only make our future stronger." Lily stepped forward with the rings. Scars barely visible in the bright sunshine, Emma held up the wedding album, ready for the first photo of their official family by the power vested in me. The minister smiled. "I now pronounce you husband and wife, and this beautiful family officially complete." As Alexander kissed her, Sarah felt Emma and Lily hugging them. Both applause erupted from the guests, but their little family remained in their own world for a moment. Longer at the reception, Victoria raised her glass for a toast to second chances, to healing, and to the kind of love that turns strangers into family later. As they danced under the stars, Alexander pulled Sarah is happier than I ever imagined possible, she said, though our story would make quite the tabloid. Headline: Billionaire Mars's late wife's secret sister, mother of his secret daughter. He chuckled. I prefer love. Corners all on the dance floor. Lily was teaching Emma some new steps, both girls laughing at their scars. Lily's visible, Emma's from the trauma of Rebecca's kidnapping, was healing just like the adult's deeper wounds look. Alexander whispered, pointing to the garden. A white butterfly landed on Catherine's favorite rose, its wings catching the last days of sunset. Do you think she knows that her sister and her husband found love? That her daughter is happy, that her family is whole? Sarah smiled. I think she orchestrated the whole thing. Angels work. In mysterious ways, as night fell, the newly unified family walked back into their home in the library. Lily's drawing waited in the album, marking the end of one chapter and the beginning of another below it in. Lily's careful handwriting were the words, "Love makes a family, and sometimes angels help." Sarah looked at her husband and daughters, marveling at how $1 million job offer had led to something priceless. A broken family made whole again, proof that love could heal even the deepest wounds, and the knowledge that sometimes the greatest gifts come disguised as life's greatest challenges.